welcome in on a Friday morning here in Jasper, Alabama. James Phillips, it's live at 9 on WJLX, and joining me today I have Jasper Police Chief J.C. Poe. J.C. Poe, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, James. Thank you for having me.
It's a good week to have you in because it's National Law Enforcement Appreciation Week.
It is.
And I know that you guys have been doing a lot of things this week to kind of not only promote yourselves, but promote fallen officers. You've had the community to do things, to reach out, to show you guys the appreciation that they have for the Jasper Police Department. But talk about this week a little bit and why it's a special week for you.
Well, we started out Monday recognizing different departments and divisions of our police department and different areas like communications, the jail, which is our correction officers, and also patrol, narcotics, school resource officers, and investigators, and clerks, and trying to take each day and one or two groups of those and recognizing those and tell them a little bit about what they do. The police department is made up of a lot of great people, and it takes every one of them, even the housekeeper, to make it go.
Right.
And make it effective and efficient in protecting the public. And we've tried to just take this week to recognize all these people and make them feel like that they are appreciated and that we really do care about them, and we do. And yesterday was Police Officers Memorial Day, and that kind of culminated all of it to where we're recognizing the fallen officers that's fallen in the line of duty.
Right. And that's something that you guys do every year, and it's just a really special event. Who are some of the fallen officers that you guys recognize each year? Because it's local officers that have passed away.
The ones that we focus on are ones that have passed away in Walker County, and I can read their names if you'd like for me to. There's like 10 of them.
Okay, yeah, I can got all 10 of them.
Yes, and I can give you the departments they're from.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And this starts back from 1920 is when I think that's as far back as we actually can find records on. I'm not positive about that, but we had to start somewhere. So in 1920, July, we had Walker County Sheriff's Deputy Ben Barrett. He was 55 years old, and he had 12 years of service, and he was killed. In 1944, we had a Jasper police officer, John Alfred Salter Sr. He was 59 years old when he was killed. Walker County Sheriff's Office, Frank Burkett, he was 73. I think he was a corrections officer, and he had 40 years of service, and he was killed by inmates in 1948.
Oh, goodness.
And Alabama State Trooper Oscar Hudson, Arville Oscar Hudson, he was 39 years old, and he had been on the force for about 2 years, and he died in 1952. You had from the Walker County Sheriff's Office, the next two is Herman Treese and Frank Harbison, and this was in September of 1952, and the two of them were going and executing an arrest warrant on an individual, and apparently he gunned them down when they got out of the car. That was Herman Treese and Frank Harbison. And Herman was my uncle, and of course I hadn't been born yet, but that's something I grew up with his daughter, which is my cousin.
Right.
And that kind of gets it to where you kind of can know what's going on, or you have personal feelings about it, because I watched her grow up without a father.
Right.
And not just not having a father, but extremely hard financial difficulties by not having that person in the home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, those two died and were killed in 1952. Then the parish police officer, Jonathan McKinley McNorris, he was 62 years old. He died in 1955. Walker County Sheriff's Deputy Dillard Henry Willingham, he was 24 years old. He was killed in 1958. Jasper police officer, Buddy Stewart Beasley. Buddy was what everybody called him. He was 30 years old. He'd been on the force for 5 years, and he died in April of 1995. He was a motor scout, and he was attempting to stop a speeder, and a pickup truck apparently did not see him and pulled out in front of him, and he hit the pickup truck and died. Then we had Officer James Denver Hobbs, and he was 69 years old, and he was been on the force 18 years, and he died in the accident that he was involved in was in 2003, and he was a motor scout also, and he was answering a call of a wreck, and he was going to a wreck with injuries. And so en route to there, a drunk turned in front of him, and he hit the drunk, and he suffered life-changing injuries, which affected him extremely harshly. And ultimately, about 11 years later, he passed away from all of those complications. And but that is 10 deaths that we have had in Walker County since 1920.
Well, and you know, with it being such a dangerous job, honestly, that's 100 years, and I hate to say only 10 guys, because it's terrible that even one was lost, but to have 10 in 100 years, that's probably fewer than I would have thought, and I guess that's a good thing to be to kind of be happy about, is that we haven't lost more than that. Yeah.
Well, you can certainly, be grateful that we haven't had more, but one death is too many.
Exactly.
As far as nationwide, in 2023, there was 147 deaths, and so far, I'm sorry I keep referring to my notes.
Oh, you're good. You need to. If I get more than one number in my head, I gotta have a number.
To date, so far in 2025, we've had 25 deaths nationwide. In Alabama, in 2024, we had 3, and so far now we've had 1 in Alabama, and I think that was an Irondale officer that died. And of the 10 deaths in Walker County, 5 was with the sheriff's office personnel. 3 were JPD, 1 a trooper, and 1 parish officer. And these deaths stem nationwide and in Alabama. They stem from gunfire, traffic accidents, and there's several things there that are line of duty type situations, and unfortunately some of them are you're out on a traffic stop and the officer gets struck by a passing vehicle, and that's why we have that move over law.
Right, yeah.
And also it's for construction workers also.
And that's something that I see all the time that people don't do. They don't move over. And I mean, that's dangerous, whether it's a police officer on the side of the road, or like you said, construction worker, or just somebody broke down on the side of the road.
Well, we live in a violent world now, and almost everyone is carrying a gun, and so the officer has to be focused on the occupants of the vehicle.
Right.
And he can't be watching traffic at the same time, although he has to.
Right.
So it takes his attention away from the vehicle, and it makes it extremely dangerous.
With it being Law Enforcement Appreciation Week, I'm talking to Jasper Police Chief J.C. Poe this morning on Live at 9. And how are some ways that the community has kind of showed you guys some appreciation this week?
They bring snacks and goodies by the PD and leave them there, donuts and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And
Is donut almost a joke almost?
well, I think everybody loves a donut.
Right.
But I get a sugar high off of them too much
Right.
in the morning time.
Because you hear people joke about the police and donuts.
Yeah,
And I think,
donuts and coffee.
Well, I sure
Yeah.
like a donut myself. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter if I was
that's
the police
right.
or not.
I think it's just one of those things that goes along, yeah. But, yeah, our community is very supportive of law enforcement, and particularly JPD, and we are so blessed to have a community that really cares about us. And, you know, you hear on the news about these larger cities in these larger, more liberal states, I guess, to where police officers are, you know, they go in restaurants and things and people don't want to serve them. Sometimes you hear things like that, but
Right.
we don't have that here at all.
Right.
And we just are totally blessed that we've got a community that they care about us.
Right.
And we strive at the police department for our people to treat citizens or anybody passing through the way they'd want their family treated.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, resonates out to the public, and they know that. They know that, and we stress that you go the extra mile to help people,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and we live in such a climate now where no matter if it's police officers or if it's garbage men, if somebody does something wrong, everybody gets blamed. You know, a bad
That's
apple
right.
causes problems for everybody. And I think it's a good thing that we still have a respect. And, you know, no matter what you think about police officers, when you're in trouble, who's the first person you're calling? You're calling the police department.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that showing police the respect that they deserve, and you guys do a dangerous job that I wouldn't want to do myself.
No. And when you call for help from a law enforcement agency, you expect help to be there when they get there.
Right.
And we really work towards that. We do a lot of training. We do a lot more training that is required by the state. They require 12 hours of continuing education hours a year and a firearms qualification. And we do far more than that. The city of Jasper pumps a lot of money into training for our police officers.
And you mentioned all the different departments. How many people work at the Jasper Police Department?
We've got currently about 44 sworn police officers. That means that they're certified, state certified through A-Post. And I'm got about 6 slots that I have not gotten filled right now that I need to hire people. And we're in the process of doing a test through the city civil service board, and applicants go to them and put in an application, and they test them, and then they interview them and give me 3 names, and I can choose from the top 3 names. Right. And then if I hire all 3 of them or hire 1 of them, then they'll bump me another name up, and they always keep me 3 names in front of me. Right. And I can hire them, and that's our hiring process. And we do extensive backgrounds on them, and we do PT tests on them. If they're not already A-Post certified, when they go to the academy, they have to do a PT test. Right. And we make sure that they can meet those requirements before they get there. Right. We certainly don't want to put a lot of money into them and they get there and flunk out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you probably don't want a one-legged guy like me to try to be chasing any bad guys either.
Well, we've got other things you could do.
There you go.
Other than being a sworn officer.
And that's how many other people do you have on staff?
We've got about 70 employees right now. Okay. And if I'm totally staffed, it's probably about 78, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. We have, I think it's 9 correction officers, and we have 8 communications. We've got several clerks. And so our patrol division, our sworn officers are spread out through the department with our patrol division, school resource officers, and our investigators, our narcotics people, and our school resource officers. They are all APO certified, and our narcotics officers, we make sure that they go to basic narcotics schools and advanced when we can get them there. And we currently have 3 narcotics officers and several detectives. I think we have 6 or 7 detectives, and we stay pretty busy.
Yeah, oh, definitely so. Well, we're chatting with J.C. Poe this morning, Police Chief of the Jasper Police Department, here on Live at 9 with James Phillips. We're going to take a quick break, hear from a few of our sponsors, and maybe a song, and then we'll be back to talk to J.C. for just one more segment. So we'll be right back on Live at 9 here on WJLX. And we're back on Live at 9. James Phillips here on WJLX. We've got Police Chief J.C. Poe speaking with us this morning. We've been talking a lot about that it's National Law Enforcement Awareness Week, or Appreciation Week. And J.C., while we was off the air, Jonathan Timmons was in here and was saying he sure would like to know what the police chief's favorite music is. And we usually talk about that when I have somebody on. So I got to ask you, what would you choose to listen to, like if you're driving around in your car? Besides, I know you're listening to WJLX, but what do you want? What do you hope comes on the air?
Well, Elvis Presley's always been my favorite artist, but I like pretty much any rock and roll other than the extreme heavy metal.
Right.
But rock and roll.
You don't like it when they're screaming at you or anything, but
no. And I like a lot of the old country, Johnny Cash, things like that. I pretty much like a wide spectrum of music, gospel music.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I like a lot of the old country with Johnny, and I saw Willie Nelson last year, and I think he's 92 years old.
Yeah, I went to one of his concerts in Birmingham years ago.
Yeah, I saw him at Oak Mountain last year, and he still sounds great. He sat down through most of the concert, but he sounded just like he's always sounded. And I'm a rock and roll guy too, so I like that. And
people wouldn't think of that of me.
No, I didn't think. I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have probably, the first thing, if you said, "Hey, what kind of music do you think JC listens to?" I'd have said gospel music. That'd been probably the first thing that I would have brought up.
Well, people look at me as being too serious all the time.
Right.
But,
yeah. Well, everybody has to let loose every now and then. And what would be your favorite rock band from years gone by?
I like AC/DC. I like Queen.
Yeah, those are good ones. That's a couple I like too. Well, JC, we talked about. I think I heard Jonathan Timmons clapping in the background. He was so happy for that AC/DC. I'm sure. If maybe when we get off the air, I can get a video of you singing "Back in Black" or something.
No, you won't hear that. That won't ever happen.
Well, we've been talking about law enforcement appreciation, and that's what this week is. And you guys had a big event yesterday downtown where you recognized guys who have been lost in duty, and there was a good turnout for that too from the community.
Yeah. We've always had a good turnout from the community, and it goes back to what we was talking about a while ago. They care about their law enforcement.
Yeah. How many years have you been in law enforcement now, and especially in Walker County?
All of my law enforcement career has been in Walker County, and it totals about 37 years. I started out with Jasper PD as a dispatcher under Leo Murray, and I'm telling how far back I go.
Right.
But then I went to patrol investigations, and then I went to the sheriff's office and spent about 18 years there, and the last 7 of it was chief deputy. And then I retired for a while, and I worked at Bevel State Community College Police Department part-time for a while, and then I became the chief at Jasper.
Right.
Applied for that.
And you were the coroner for how many years?
Yes, I was a coroner for about 6 years during my lag time.
Right.
But during all that time, I kept my state certification. I always did my training.
Right.
And I stayed certified, and so I kept that good.
Right, because I think that we got to know each other best during your time as coroner, and I was working at the newspaper, and you were always easy to deal with, and
Thank you.
obliged the newspaper folks that would bother you at all hours of the day, I'm sure. But how have just you felt as far as appreciation goes throughout your career? I mean, I feel like we mentioned earlier, we live in a community that shows that, but you firsthand experienced it.
Yes. We have always experienced in Walker County support from the community. And I remember, James, back when in the 80s when ballistic vests become extremely popular, law enforcement started getting them, and they put on a drive here in Jasper to get businesses and individuals to fund the vest. And if you remember back, you'd have a picture in the paper of
Right.
This business was buying a vest or two vests, for the police department. And that's how everybody at the PD got their first ballistic vest.
Right.
Is from the public, and now we do it, we get grants that will pay for like half of the vest, and the city has to pay for the other half of it. But, it's just a requirement now.
Right.
But the citizens was very supportive in businesses back then and fitted everybody with a vest.
Well, and I bet one thing that you've
A small
seen,
example of how they do it.
yeah, I bet one thing you've seen too over the years. I mean, I've been in media for 30 years now, and the technology that has changed. I can only imagine in police work how technology has changed since you got into it.
Oh, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Of course, now every vehicle's got a laptop in it, and you're connected with a station, and you've got a software there that everybody's connected and can see the calls and where everybody's going and things of that nature. And you can access the law enforcement like NCIC and JICS, things of that nature, databases, and then cell phones. And we can do our radios through two-way radios now through our cell phones.
Right.
And that's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know we talked earlier about how many people actually work at JPD, and so you've got 70 people that are under you. What can you say to them as far as your appreciation for them this week?
Well, I've been trying to say it all week and just tell them that, how much they are a value of the police department. And it takes every one of them to make it functional. And I can't run it all. I can't do it all. All I can do is lead.
Right.
And try to pick good people as leaders to support me and grow people as leaders. And put a lot of training into them and try to develop good leaders, because I won't always be there. And, it's just a constant flow, uphill, hopefully, of people advancing. And when people retire, you've got to bring people up, and you've got to have them ready for that.
Right.
And prepared for it.
Right. Well, we sure appreciate the job that you do, and that all of your officers and all of your staff does at JPD. We appreciate you guys keeping us safe and doing a job that a lot of people don't want to do these days. And so we do say thank you for that. And I know you're on the clock as JPD police chief, so you can't really say much about what I will bring up, because I know everybody has been talking about it over the last week, is that you also have announced that you'll be running for sheriff. And it says a lot about you that before we set up this interview that you said, hey, I don't want to take time away from the appreciation week or the remembering the lost officers to be talking about a campaign or anything like that you wanted to keep it like that. But I do want to say that you have announced that you'll be running for sheriff, and we'll have you back as the campaign gets moving forward. We'll have you and all the other people who are running for sheriff on to talk about y'all's ideas for what change should be or that sort of thing in that race. But I do wish you the best in moving forward in that too. But we do appreciate you and appreciate your officers and what you guys do here in Jasper.
Thank you, and I appreciate you having me on to bring this even more out into the public.
Yeah, and anything we can do in the future, we're doing a lot of things to get be as community minded as we can be here at WJLX, and if there's something we can do to help the police department put out some positive news. If you guys have things going on, feel free to contact us and get one of your guys over here to talk to us, and we'll help spread the word.
Awesome.
Well, JC, thanks for joining us, and thank you guys for listening this morning here to WJLX. It's Live at 9 with James Phillips, and we'll be back next week with another guest. And later today, coming up at 10 o'clock, we'll have the professor of rock and roll, Woody Wilson, and he'll have his show. He'll be teaching you guys a thing or two about rock and roll and a few things that are going on around the community. So be sure to tune into that. And until next time, I'm James Phillips. Thank you for listening to WJLX.